Welcome to this week's End of Days Update, coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had such a great time this last weekend. We were at Spokane Christian Center. Had horrible weather, but folks still came out anyway, had a great time. If you're anywhere near Boise, Idaho, we'll be there this weekend doing 3 services Sunday morning, and then we'll be in the Bible school Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and then we'll be at the church Wednesday night. We'll have a great time. Come join us if you can. We're coming to you every week to look at the different things that point to the coming of the Lord, specifically the gathering of nations for the Ezekiel 38 war and stuff that's happening right after the rapture of the church. Because the second coming, we talk about it, has tons of signs. I think our book, it came out to 79 or 80 that are in the book. But the rapture is signless, so it's amazing how we can look at what's happening in the earth and compare them and look how close we are. It's people go, why would we need to know about this? Well, look at all the information in the Bible to show us what it would look like just before Jesus comes. So we'd make changes, we'd hustle. It's like a 2-minute warning in a football game, or I love college football, and if I think the quarterback's not looking at the play clock, it freaks me out. I start running, yelling. When look at the clock, look at the clock. So we talk about this stuff, so we don't have an escape theology. It's a hustle theology. When you see the finish line, I've never seen somebody slow down. They always accelerate when you see the finish line. What we're looking at right now happening in the earth, the Bible predicted it thousands of years before, and it's playing out right in front of our eyes exactly as the Bible said it would. So 31% of the Bible is prophecy. For every one verse there is about the first coming of the Lord, there's 8 times more about the second coming. Paul talked about the baptism 12 times, the coming of the Lord 52 times. So it's a big deal. I hear people say, it's not important to hear about the coming of the Lord. Well, Peter said there would be scoffing like that, and they just don't really believe a change is coming, but change is coming. Just like Zacharias, just like Elizabeth, Mary, and Joseph, Anna, and Simeon, they were all in position right there at the first coming of the Lord. Well, we need to be in position doing what we're called to do right here before the second coming of the Lord. So, man, let's pick up with what's happening in Israel. Obviously, we're reminded of the horrific war that started October 7th. You think that some of the action would be playing down a little bit, but right now it's gotten worse and worse and worse. I mean, it's just amazing how intensified it's gotten after this long, over 100 days. You knew what happened was you had 21 Israeli soldiers got killed in a house. They were in planting explosives, and a rocket-propelled grenade was fired in, and the whole building collapsed, killed 21 of them. But you're watching things one after another look more and more hideous. Now, you had looked like some ceasefires were trying to be brokered by some different countries. Qatar had a whole hostage swap that we're getting ready to do. And guess who decided they didn't want to do that? Was Hamas. And they said, Israeli Defense Forces said they found the largest, basic, not a maintenance area, but a largest development area of weaponry since they've had in the war that started. So many things are happening like that. And in the north, this is something that was really bizarre. You had Hezbollah firing missiles, a barrage of rockets coming from Lebanon, from Hezbollah. And it was intriguing that Israel's air base got hit again. That's the 3rd time an Israeli air base has gotten bombed by Hezbollah. It shows you how sophisticated those missiles are up there in Lebanon. Why is that a big deal? Israel did airstrikes in Damascus this last week. In the last couple of days, why? Missiles are coming from Iran down into Syria, and they try to get them over to Lebanon, which is right on Israel's northern doorstep. So you've got Israel being bombarded from the west, Israel being bombarded from the north, and Israel being bombarded from the east. You have the Houthis there in Yemen. They keep firing drones over at us, and our ships and a British ship has taken out tons of their equipment. So crazy stuff. There's even a $15 million bounty on the drone company that's making drones for Iran. I mean, there's so much happening. With all of that happening, and Iran getting mad because Israel hit Damascus airport, you have Iran firing missiles at American bases in Iraq. Now you have the president of Iraq getting mad about that too. Well, quit letting your land be used to fire missiles at the Israelis and Americans. It hit right by our consulate, and one of them hit one of our bases, and 4 of our men had traumatizing brain injuries. So there should be a radical retaliation. But this is how we are living right now. You have Ehud Barak, the older prime minister that was the prime minister years ago, getting mad at Netanyahu, saying this whole war is his fault. He doesn't have any exit out of this. Look at the left, at how crazy the left is to get mad at the right to try to protect the land of Israel. You had North Korea. North Korea fired an atomic bomb underwater, tested an atomic bomb underwater. That's a big deal because they're saying they want to take out America and take out Israel. And you have them talk about their new hypersonic missile, which we talked about. Russia has one, and even Iran talked about their hypersonic missile. I did the math on it. It said it could hit from Iran, fired at Israel, could hit in 400 seconds. So I divided 60 into 400, and I told you what that comes out to. 666. Crazy. 6 minutes and 66 seconds. So you have all of this stuff happening, and even the background to what's going on is kind of intriguing to hear how Israel is single-handedly taking out every one of the leaders of Hamas. This last week, so many more even got taken out. So yeah, I hear a lot of people complain about, oh, there's just innocent people getting hurt. That's right. Israel does probably a better job than any nation trying not to hurt innocent people, and they're still getting blamed. But you're going to watch the rising tide of anti-Semitism. Listen to what happened at Harvard. The posters of the hostages that were all over Harvard got defaced. And you, thank God, you got even a Jewish student that's suing the campus for this. So all of this stuff is going to get worse and worse and worse. And so that we can see they need to call on the Messiah to come in. You had a couple of rabbis this last week talk about how the Talmud is a setup right now. What you're seeing with Iran, what you're seeing with Russia is a setup for Gog and Magog. And what they said, where I love their verbiage, was everything is set up for that last 7 years that Daniel talked about right before the Messiah comes. They could comprehend that looking at that. That so blessed me, kind of surprised me. So it's all being set up right in front of our eyes. There was an article coming out about the Temple Mount, how the Ark of the Covenant looked like. They may be able to find it. Then you had a solar storm today that could knock out some of the GPSs, could knock out some of the radioactivity. Sunday, the solar storm was so big that there was radioactivity knocked out over the Pacific Ocean. So you got a new comet that they found. You got a bunch of more asteroids that they found. So you got signs in the heavens. You got signs in the earth. Jesus is just about to come. It's hard to get into all of it in 10 or 15 minutes, but so many things are happening with the negotiations with trying to stop the Gaza war. So what do? We always go back to the Bible. The Bible says the generation that sees Israel regathered in 1948 and Jerusalem went back in 1967. He said that generation won't pass away till all is fulfilled. But then you have the Hebrew language restored. You got the Ethiopian Jews brought back. You got the fertility of the land of Israel. You have the revival of the Roman Empire. You have 172 different species of predatory birds start showing up in the land. You have the Temple Mount Institute that's ready to start having sacrifices. They got the red heifers that they need. I mean, so you have all these things in place. You have the ritual baths around the Temple Mount fill up with water. You have the Red Sea, have fish in it. I mean, the Dead Sea, you have fish in it. And then this last year, you had the Dead Sea turn blood red where Sodom and Gomorrah was. That's absolutely amazing. It was on the Day of Atonement. So sign after sign after sign. Russia goes into Crimea. Russia goes into the Ukraine. You got fish in the Dead Sea. You've got foxes on the Temple Mount. So you have the Palmyra, in Palmyra, Syria, where the Tower of Babel was. You have the archway for Baal worship. Russia rebuilt it this last year. And why is that a big deal? The Talmud said that's the last sign you'll see before the Messiah comes. So there's so many signs, sign after sign after sign. Men will be lovers themselves. You have selfie sticks. You had Bishop Malachi in the year 1129 AD had a vision of every pope of the coat of arms they would have, all the way up to the coming of the Lord. He got 114 out of 114 correct. That's amazing. This is what the History Channel did. That's statistically impossible. Only a God could do that. Guess what pope we have right now? It's the 114th. So all these signs, then you got signals. You had blood red moons on Passover and Tabernacles, 4 in a row. When's the last time you had 4 in a row on Passover and Tabernacles? 1967 when Jerusalem was won back, 1948 when Israel was made a nation, and 1492 at the Edict of Expulsion when the Jews were kicked out of Spain. And God raised up Columbus to sail the ocean blue, 1492. What did he do? He found a land where would be a safe harbor for the Jews, United States of America. Wild. Then you had the Bethlehem star, Jupiter, Regulus, and Venus coming together at the birth of Jesus. The constellation was Virgo. This last year you had that celestial event. The constellation was Leo. He's the Lion of the tribe of Judah. How blessed that we got signals in the heavens, signs in the earth, The Lord wants us to have a heads up. He wants you to know exactly what time it is. The reason why we get into all this is because He loves you. He wants to bless you. He wants to strengthen you. He wants you expectant. He wants you excited. We're about to see Jesus. Our lives should completely revolve around Him being the master. It pleased the Father that in Him, Jesus, with all the fullness of the Godhead, dwell bodily. So we're about to see Him. So what do? Help our local church, help our local pastor. We're engaged. We don't fit church into our life. It is our life. Why? We're about to see the King. I think everything is set up so that we can see Him so soon. So this is the time to soul win. This is the time to hustle. This is the time to do everything you know to do. What heaven has given you over the years, the different things that the Lord's told you to do, just do it right now. Well, we'll come back next week and we'll look at what else happened. I know some more will have happened probably with China, with North Korea, with Iran. Specifically, Iran probably is going to do something crazy in the next few months, and it'll be intriguing to see how it all plays out. Because Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen are all Iranian-backed and Iranian-sent. So we'll see what's going to happen with them real soon. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks for joining us today at the End of Days Update. If you'd like to be notified every time there's a new post, just go to the EDU at josephmorris.com and subscribe to receive email alerts. If these posts and updates have been a blessing to you, please consider making a one-time donation to help get the message out, or even becoming a monthly partner with Joseph Morris Ministries. Thanks again for tuning in to the EDU, and we'll see you next week.